The warning lights flashed red across the bridge of the USS Pioneer. Commander Jake Harrison gripped his chair as the ship shook violently. They were supposed to be on a routine patrol. Nothing exciting ever happened out here near the asteroid belt. "What's going on?" Jake asked, his voice steady despite the chaos. Lieutenant Amy Foster looked up from her console, her face pale. "Sir, we're getting some kind of scan from an unknown vessel. It's not human." Jake felt his heart race. First, contact. After years of wondering if humanity was alone, they finally had their answer. "Can you communicate with them?" Amy's fingers flew over her controls. "I'm trying, sir. They're sending us something. It's like a demand, but the translation software is having trouble." The main screen flickered to life, showing a strange symbol that pulsed with an eerie blue light. Then words appeared beneath it in broken English. "Explain. Ancient. Vessels. Asteroid. Belt." Jake frowned. Ancient vessels? What were they talking about? "Amy, what ancient vessels?" Before she could answer, another officer called out. "Sir, we're getting more contacts. Multiple alien ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel." The screen split, showing 5 massive ships materializing around them. They were unlike anything Jake had ever seen, with flowing organic curves and strange energy patterns dancing across their hulls. Jake pressed a button on his chair. "Get me Earth Defense Command. Now." The communication crackled to life. "This is Captain Ben Walsh. What's your situation, Pioneer?" "Sir, we have first contact. Alien ships are asking about ancient vessels in the asteroid belt. I don't know what they're talking about." There was a long pause. Jake could hear muffled voices in the background. When Captain Walsh spoke again, his voice was different, tense. "Pioneer, you are ordered to maintain diplomatic contact. Do not, repeat, do not mention anything about the asteroid belt to them. We're sending the information you need." Jake's confusion grew. What was going on? "Understood, sir." The alien transmission came again, this time with better translation. "We are the Zarvak Collective. Your species has much explaining to do. We detected 5 ancient warships in your asteroid field. These ships show signs of temporal distortion. They belong to no known civilization." Jake looked at Amy, who seemed just as confused as he was. He spoke carefully. "Honored Zarvak, we are peaceful explorers. We don't know of any ancient warships. Perhaps there's been a mistake." The response was immediate and harsh. "No mistake. Our instruments are precise. These vessels exist outside normal time. They appear to be from a lost civilization far more advanced than your species. How did they come to be near your homeworld?" Jake's mind raced. He needed to buy time while waiting for instructions from Earth. We have only recently begun exploring our own system thoroughly. If such vessels exist, we know nothing of them." The main screen changed, showing a Zarvak figure. It looked like a tall, gray being with large black eyes and elongated limbs. Its mouth didn't move, but the voice came through clearly. "I am Ambassador Thex. We will send a team to inspect these vessels. You will assist us." Jake felt sweat on his forehead. "Of course, Ambassador. We would be honored to help with your investigation." As soon as the transmission ended, Jake turned to Amy. "Get me everything we have on the asteroid belt, and find out what these ancient ships are about." Amy nodded and started working. After a few minutes, she looked up with wide eyes. "Sir, I'm getting classified files from Earth Defense Command. There are human ships out there, 5 of them. But they're not ancient." Jake moved to her station, reading over her shoulder. What he saw made his blood run cold. The files showed advanced human warships, more advanced than anything he'd seen in the military, and they were purposely disguised to look ancient. "Dr. Lisa Park, Temporal Research Division," one file read. "Project Chronos Shield successful. Vessels now appear to be thousands of years old to standard scans. Begin deployment phase." Jake read further, his mind spinning. These ships were human, but they were using some kind of technology to fool alien scanners into thinking they were ancient. And now real aliens had found them, Sir, Amy whispered. What do we do? The Zarvak are going to find out these ships are human. Before Jake could answer, another message came through from the Zarvak fleet. We are sending boarding teams to your ancient vessels. Our scientists are very interested in this discovery. It may help us understand the origins of advanced technology in our galaxy. Jake looked at the growing alien fleet on his screen. They had brought more ships, including what looked like scientific vessels bristling with sensors and equipment. This was bad. Very bad. He pressed his communication button again. Earth Defense Command, we have a problem. The Zarvak are sending teams to board the vessels in the asteroid belt. They think they're ancient artifacts from a lost civilization. Captain Walsh's response was grim. We know, Commander. This is now a code red situation. You are to continue the diplomatic charade at all costs. Make them think you're as curious about these ships as they are. We're working on a solution here. Jake closed the channel and looked at his crew. They all watched him, waiting for orders. The weight of the moment pressed down on him. First contact with aliens, and they were about to discover humanity's biggest military secret by accident. All right, everyone, he said, trying to sound confident. We're going to help the Zarvak investigate these mysterious ancient ships, and we're going to act just as surprised as they are when we find out what's inside them. The bridge fell silent as the alien boarding shuttles launched toward the asteroid belt. Jake watched them go, wondering how long they could keep up this lie before everything fell apart. In the distance, 5 human warships waited quietly, their temporal shields making them appear ancient and harmless. But Jake now knew the truth. They were humanity's secret weapon, and the aliens were about to get very close to discovering it. The game of deception had begun, and Jake Harrison was right in the middle of it. Dr. Lisa Park stared at the massive holographic display in Earth's secret command center. Her hands shook slightly as she watched the alien ships approach the hidden warships. 20 years of work was about to be exposed. Dr. Park, the Joint. Chiefs are here, her assistant called out. She turned to see General Carl Drake entering the room with 5 other high-ranking military officers. Their faces were grim. This wasn't supposed to happen. The temporal shields were meant to hide the ships from everyone, especially alien races they hadn't even known existed. Doctor, explain to us exactly what these aliens are about to find, General Drake said, his voice hard. Lisa took a deep breath. Sir, our 5 prototype warships are using temporal shielding technology. They exist partially outside normal time. To any scanner, they appear to be ancient, dead ships. The aliens should only detect old metal and energy signatures that look thousands of years old. Should, the general repeated, but you're not certain? No, sir. The Zarvak technology might be more advanced than we thought, if they have temporal sensors of their own. Another officer, Admiral Martinez, stepped forward. How did we even get this technology? Where did it come from? Lisa hesitated. This was classified above even many generals' clearance levels. Sir, in 2018 we recovered debris from the Phoenix incident. The wreckage contained technology we've been studying ever since. We learned to manipulate time fields around objects. You mean the alleged meteor crash in Nevada? General Drake asked. It wasn't a meteor, sir. It was alien technology. We've been reverse engineering it for years. These 5 warships are the result. Meanwhile, on board the USS Pioneer, Commander Jake Harrison watched the alien boarding shuttles approach their target. Through his view screen, he could see the first of humanity's hidden ships drifting among the asteroids. Sir, Lieutenant Amy, Foster reported, the Zarvak scientists are starting their scans. Their lead scientist, someone called Crix, is in direct communication with Ambassador Thex. Jake nodded. What are they saying? Amy adjusted her earpiece. Crix is excited. He says the energy patterns are unlike anything in their database. He's comparing them to legends of the first builders, some ancient race they've been searching for. Jake felt a drop of sweat run down his spine. This was getting worse. If the aliens thought humans had discovered ships from some mythical ancient race, they'd never leave. Back on Earth, engineer Pete Garcia raced through the corridors of Titan Station, humanity's secret manufacturing facility hidden inside Saturn's moon. Alarms blared throughout the base. Pete, someone shouted. The temporal fields are fluctuating. Pete grabbed his portable console and started running faster. Which ship? Ship number 3. The alien scans are interfering with our systems somehow. Pete reached the control room and immediately began adjusting parameters on his console. Through the massive windows, he could see the temporal distortion fields around the 5 warships, visible only from inside the station. They looked like heat, waves bending the light around the ships. Increase power to the secondary generators, he ordered. We need to maintain the illusion. His second-in-command, Sarah Kim, looked worried. Pete, if we increase power too much, we might cause a temporal cascade. The ships could phase out completely. If we don't, the aliens will see through our shields and find out these ships are human, Pete replied grimly. I'll take that risk. On the lead alien shuttle, scientist Crick studied his instruments with growing excitement. The energy signatures were fascinating. They seemed to pulse with a rhythm he'd never seen before. Ambassador Thex, he called through his communicator. This is extraordinary. These vessels show signs of technology that predates known galactic civilization by thousands of years. General Vex, the military advisor, leaned over Crick's shoulder. Can you access their systems? I'm trying, General, but there seems to be some kind of phase variance. It's as if the ships exist in multiple time frames at once. Back at Earth's command center, Dr. Lisa Park watched the alien team's progress on her monitors. Her phone rang. This is Dr. Park. Doctor, this is Commander Harrison aboard the Pioneer. I need to know what happens if they try to board one of our ships. What will they find? Lisa's heart raced. She hadn't expected this question. Commander, if they breach the temporal field and board a ship, they'll find modern human technology, computers, weapons, life support systems. Everything will be clearly marked with human labels and dates. Jake's voice was tense. So we're finished if they get inside. Not necessarily, Lisa said quickly. We've prepared for this possibility. Each ship has a false history programmed into its computers. Ancient texts, star charts from thousands of years ago, technology blueprints that look primitive but advanced. If they access the systems, they'll see what appears to be the database of an ancient, unknown civilization. Will it fool them? It should, Commander, unless their temporal technology is far beyond ours. On Titan Station, Pete Garcia's worst fears were coming true. The alien scans were causing the temporal fields to destabilize. Warning lights flashed across his control board. Sir, the aliens are using some kind of temporal resonance probe on Ship 3, Sarah reported. Our shields are starting to fail. Pete's fingers flew over his console. Reroute all non-essential power to the shields. If Ship 3's field collapses, they'll see 500 human crew members who are actually aboard pretending to be in stasis. The room fell silent as everyone realized what that meant. If the aliens discovered living humans on what they thought were ancient dead ships, the game would be over. Ambassador Thex floated in his command ship, studying the reports coming in from the boarding teams. Something felt wrong about this discovery. The energy patterns were too organized, too deliberate for truly ancient vessels. Crix, he said into his communicator. I want a full temporal analysis on each ship. Something about this situation doesn't add up. Crix responded eagerly. Already on it, Ambassador. The more we scan, the more questions we have. It's almost like these ships are too perfect, too well preserved. Thex's suspicions grew. In his long career, he'd learned to trust his instincts. These humans seemed genuinely surprised by the discovery of these ships, but there was something in their responses that felt rehearsed. On the Pioneer, Jake ordered maximum sensors focused on the alien boarding parties. He needed to know the moment they discovered anything unusual. Sir, Amy reported, the aliens are about to make contact with Ship 3's access port. They're preparing to attempt entry. Jake's heart pounded. Everything depended on the next few minutes. If the aliens got inside and saw through their deception, humanity would have to decide between revealing their true military capabilities or accepting the aliens' protection as a backward race that had stumbled upon ancient technology. Neither option was good. And Jake had a sinking feeling that things were about to get much worse. Commander Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the USS Pioneer, watching alien boarding shuttles circle the third human warship. His new orders were clear but troubling. Work directly with the aliens and keep them from finding the truth. Sir, Ambassador Thex is requesting that you join his inspection team, Lieutenant Amy Foster announced. He says it would be good for diplomatic relations if humans and Zarvak worked together on this discovery. Jake nodded slowly. This was both an opportunity and a trap. Tell him I'll be honored to assist. 20 minutes later, Jake found himself in an alien shuttle heading toward Ship 3. Beside him sat Ambassador Thex, his gray skin seeming to shimmer under the shuttle's lights. The ambassador's large black eyes focused on Jake with uncomfortable intensity. Commander Harrison, Thex said, his voice coming through a translator device. Your species seems remarkably calm about discovering advanced ancient technology in your own system. Jake forced a smile. We're scientists at heart, Ambassador. Discovery is what we live for. The shuttle docked with Ship 3's airlock. As they entered, Jake tried not to show his nervousness. He knew that beneath the temporal shields, human crewmen waited in hiding, pretending to be in stasis chambers that would look ancient to alien eyes. Dr. Kate Miller waited inside, wearing a dirty expedition suit to match her cover as a xenoarchaeologist. Her job was to guide the alien investigation and provide convincing but false explanations for everything they found. Ambassador Thex, she said with practiced excitement, I can't believe we're actually here. These readings are incredible. Jake watched as Crix, the alien scientist, immediately began scanning the corridor they were in. The ship's interior had been carefully modified. Modern control panels were hidden beneath fake ancient coverings, and all text had been changed to look like an unknown alien language. Fascinating, Crix muttered, studying his handheld device. The energy patterns inside are even more complex than our external scans showed. Dr. Miller led them deeper into the ship, following a carefully prepared route that avoided areas with living crew. They entered what appeared to be an ancient command center, complete with fake controls that looked thousands of years old. Look at this, Miller said, pointing to a wall panel. The symbols match nothing in our database. It's like discovering an entirely new civilization. General Vex, the Zarvak military advisor, approached one of the displays. Crix, can you access their systems? Crix connected his device to what looked like an ancient interface point. Attempting connection now, General. Jake's heart raced. This was the critical moment. If their false database worked, the aliens would see only ancient, mysterious records. If it failed, they'd see modern human technology with clear Earth dates. The screen flickered to life, showing symbols that slowly resolved into images. Star maps appeared showing constellations as they had looked thousands of years ago. Data streams flowed past in the unknown language they'd created. Remarkable, Crix breathed. Their navigational data shows star positions from approximately 7,000 years ago. This ship is truly ancient. Jake relaxed slightly. Their deception was holding. Meanwhile, on Titan Station, engineer Pete Garcia faced a different crisis. The alien probes were causing temporal fluctuations that threatened to expose everything. Pete, we've got a problem, Sarah Kim called out. The alien scanning is creating feedback loops in our temporal field generators. Ship 2 is starting to phase in and out of normal time. Pete rushed to the main console. Through the station's viewing ports, he could see Ship 2 beginning to shimmer and fade, then return to visibility. If the aliens saw this, they'd know something was very wrong. Increase power to the stabilizers, he ordered. We need to mask this fluctuation somehow. Back on Ship 3, the alien inspection team moved into what they believed was an ancient cargo bay. Dr. Miller had prepared for this moment carefully. The bay contained carefully crafted replicas of unknown technology, scattered as if the ship had been carrying them when it died. These artifacts, Dr. Miller explained, they don't match any known civilization in our records either. It's like this ship was collecting technology from different sources. Lieutenant Danny Wong, Jake's tactical officer, watched this from the Pioneer. He'd been using every sensor available to monitor the situation, and something bothered him. Sir, he called, to his captain back on the bridge. I'm detecting unusual energy patterns from the Zarvak fleet. It's almost like they're preparing for something. Amy Foster checked her own sensors. Danny's right. The Zarvak are powering up their weapon systems, not targeting us, but they're getting ready for something. On Ship 3, Crix made a discovery that sent ripples through the alien team. Ambassador, look at this. We've found what appears to be a hibernation chamber. Jake's blood turned cold. Those were supposed to be fake stasis pods, but what if they'd accidentally guided the aliens to an area where real humans were hidden? The aliens approached the pod, their instruments beeping frantically. Crix studied his readings with growing confusion. The biological signs are unusual. The decay rate doesn't match the ship's age. General Vex stepped forward. What do you mean? The organic matter in this pod appears to be only a few weeks old, not thousands of years, Crix replied, his voice uncertain. Jake felt sweat on his forehead despite the cool air. This couldn't be happening. Dr. Miller caught his eye and gave an almost imperceptible shake of her head. Perhaps, she said quickly, perhaps the hibernation technology was so advanced it perfectly preserved the biological matter. We've seen stranger things in ancient artifacts. Ambassador Thex studied the humans carefully. Something in their reactions didn't feel right to him. These humans seemed too knowledgeable, too prepared for each discovery. Commander Harrison, he said slowly, your species has impressive archaeologists, very thorough in their research. Jake sensed the suspicion in the statement. We take our scientific discoveries seriously, Ambassador. Back on Earth, General Carl Drake received an urgent report. Sir, the Zarvak are preparing for combat. Our intelligence suggests they're not just here for scientific curiosity. They're looking for weapon technology to use against their enemies. Dr. Lisa Park looked up from her temporal monitors. General, if they discover our technology works properly, they might try to take it by force. The Zarvak have a history of claiming ancient artifacts as their right to study and use. On Titan Station, Pete Garcia's worst fears materialized. A massive power surge from the alien scans caused Ship 4's temporal field to destabilize completely. For 5 full seconds, the ship appeared in normal time with all its modern human systems visible. Oh no, Sarah whispered. Did they see it? Pete checked his monitors frantically. Unknown. The surge might have interfered with their sensors, too. But if they caught even a glimpse... Back on Ship 3, Ambassador Thex suddenly stopped examining artifacts. His team had been working for hours, and his suspicions were growing stronger. Crix, he said loudly, perform a detailed temporal scan on this entire vessel. I want to know exactly when each component was built, and cross-reference that with the local star system's developmental history. Jake and Dr. Miller exchanged worried glances. This was the scan they'd hoped to avoid. If Crix ran a detailed analysis of everything in the ship, he'd discover that the technology was far too advanced for the supposed age of the vessel. The alien scientist nodded and began setting up his most powerful scanning equipment. Jake realized they'd run out of time for simple deceptions. The truth was about to come out, and humanity would have to face the consequences. The alarm screeched through Ship 1's corridors as Lieutenant Commander Sue Davis raced toward the engineering section. Her science team had detected a massive system failure developing in real time. Status report, she shouted as she burst into the control room. Ma'am, the temporal field generators are overheating, replied Technician Jim Baker. The alien scans are causing our systems to work harder than they were designed for. If they fail completely, the Zarvak will see everything. Sue quickly examined the readings on her screen. 500 human crew members were hidden on Ship 1, all pretending to be in ancient stasis. If the temporal field collapsed, the aliens would see them instantly. Reroute power from the secondary systems, she ordered. Life support to minimum. We need everything for the temporal shields. Back on Ship 3, Ambassador Thex watched as Crix set up his advanced scanning equipment. Commander Jake Harrison felt his stomach tighten with each passing second. This won't take long, Crix said, adjusting his device. Our temporal scanner will show us the exact age of every component on this vessel. Dr. Kate Miller stepped forward, trying to delay. Ambassador, with technology this old, wouldn't there be risks in scanning too deeply? We wouldn't want to damage these precious artifacts. General Vex turned his large eyes toward her suspiciously. Your concern is noted, human, but we have scanned many ancient vessels. We know what we're doing. Jake caught Miller's worried glance. They were out of tricks. Meanwhile, on Earth, a diplomatic crisis was brewing. In the secret meeting room, General Carl Drake received an urgent call from Space Traffic Control. General, we've detected Zarvak reinforcements entering our system. That's 20 more ships, all military vessels. Dr. Lisa Park looked up sharply. They're not just exploring anymore, they're preparing for something. At that moment, a young aide rushed into the room, nearly stumbling. General, sir, we've got a problem in the diplomatic zone. What kind of problem? Drake demanded. Junior diplomat Tom Hayes was at dinner with some Zarvak officials. He accidentally mentioned our deep space mining operations in the outer system. The room went silent. Mining operations would require ships that could reach the outer system. That meant human technology was far more advanced than they'd claimed to the aliens. How bad is it? Drake asked grimly. The Zarvak military advisor was there. He immediately started asking questions about our faster-than-light capabilities. Hayes tried to cover it up, but Dr. Park stood up. General, if they think we've been lying about our technology level, they'll start questioning everything, including those ships. Back in space, Captain Alex Carter sat in the command chair of Ship 5, one of the hidden warships. His crew was at full alert, weapon systems powered down but ready to activate in seconds. Sir, his first officer reported, the Zarvak fleet is repositioning. They're forming what looks like a battle formation around our ships. Alex studied the tactical display. The alien move was subtle but clear to any military mind. They were preparing to either capture or destroy the human vessels. Signal Earth, he said quietly. Tell them we're about to be boxed in. And get our engines ready for emergency power. On Titan Station, Pete Garcia was losing the fight to keep the temporal field stable. The alien scans were relentless. Pete, Ship 2 is having critical failures, Sarah Kim announced. The field generators are about to blow. Pete made a desperate decision. Shut down all non-essential systems on Ship 2. Put everything into the temporal shields. The crew there will just have to tough it out with minimal life support. The station shook as massive energy surges coursed through the generators. Through the viewing ports, Pete could see Ship 2 flickering in and out of visibility. Sarah, if that ship drops out of temporal phase completely while the aliens are watching, we'll have to fight our way out, she finished grimly. On Ship 3, Crix activated his temporal scanner. Immediately, the device started beeping rapidly, showing readings that made him frown. This is unexpected, he muttered. Ambassador Thex moved closer. What is it? The temporal signatures are more complex than I've ever seen. There are layers upon layers of time manipulation here. It's almost like... Like what? General Vex demanded. Crix hesitated, studying his scanner. Like this technology was deliberately designed to fool temporal scans. Jake felt his heart stop. The alien scientist was getting too close to the truth. At that moment, Ship 2's temporal field finally destabilized. For a full 10 seconds, the vessel appeared completely normal, with modern human technology visible through its viewports. On the Pioneer, Lieutenant Amy Foster shouted, "Sir, Ship 2 has dropped out of temporal phase. The aliens can see everything." The Zarvak fleet immediately responded. Weapon locks appeared on every human vessel, while alien fighters launched from carrier ships. This is General Vex to all Zarvak forces, the alien military commander announced on all frequencies. The humans have been deceiving us. These are not ancient ships. They are military vessels. Prepare for possible hostile action. Ambassador Thex turned to Jake, his black eyes cold. Commander Harrison, I believe you have some explaining to do. Before Jake could respond, Crix's equipment suddenly malfunctioned. Sparks flew from his device as it overloaded, apparently damaged by the temporal fluctuations from Ship 2. Crix! Thex shouted as his scientist collapsed. Dr. Miller immediately moved to help, but Jake noticed General Vex was now focused entirely on his own communication device, issuing rapid orders to his fleet. On Earth, Lieutenant Nina Bell, head of psychological operations, watched the unfolding disaster through satellite feeds. Her training told her that the aliens were about to either attack or retreat, but either way, humanity's deception was over. "General Drake," she said calmly, "we need to decide right now. Do we reveal the truth and hope for understanding, or do we prepare for war?" General Drake stared at the tactical displays showing alien warships surrounding each human vessel. "Get me Admiral Roy Black. This is his call now." This just became a military situation. In space, the tension reached its breaking point. Human warships prepared for battle while trying to maintain their disguise. Zarvak forces held their fire but remained ready. And in the middle of it all, a single malfunction had pulled back the curtain on humanity's greatest secret. The game of deception was over. Now it was time to see if humanity could survive the truth. A massive solar storm erupted from the sun, sending waves of energy across the solar system. On Titan Station, every alarm went off at once. "Pete!" Sarah Kim yelled over the noise. "The solar storm is hitting our temporal generators." Engineer Pete Garcia watched in horror as all 5 ships' temporal fields began to fluctuate wildly. There was nothing he could do. The storm was too powerful. "All stations, brace for temporal collapse," he shouted into his communicator. In space, every human and alien watched as all 5 warships suddenly appeared in normal time. Modern human technology gleamed under the stars, with clearly visible American military markings. Weapon systems, shield generators, and advanced engines were exposed for all to see. On Ship 3, Ambassador Thex stood frozen as he realized the full extent of the deception. General Vex immediately drew what looked like a weapon, pointing it at Commander Jake Harrison. "You lied to us," Vex roared. "These are human warships." Jake held up his hands calmly. He knew this moment had been coming and had prepared for it. "Ambassador Thex, I need to tell you the truth. Please give me a chance to explain." Before Vex could respond, Ambassador Thex raised his hand. "Stand down, General. I want to hear what the human has to say." Jake took a deep breath. "These ships are human. We've been developing temporal shielding technology for the past 20 years. We didn't know about other intelligent life in the galaxy. These ships were designed for defense, not conquest." "Defense against what?" Thex asked. "Against the unknown. Against threats we might face when we finally ventured out into space. We never intended to deceive anyone. When you arrived and mistook our ships for ancient artifacts, we were afraid of what you'd do if you knew how advanced our military technology was." General Vex's weapon remained trained on Jake. "You developed temporal weapons while pretending to be a primitive race. This could tip the balance in the entire galaxy." At that moment, a new voice entered the conversation. Multiple ships appeared on all sides of the conflict zone, displaying the markings of a different alien race. "This is the Helix Empire," a cold voice announced. "We have been monitoring this situation. The human temporal technology belongs to us now." The Helix ships immediately opened fire on both human and Zarvak vessels. The attack was unprovoked and brutal. "All human ships, drop your disguises and fight." Admiral Roy Black's voice boomed across all channels from his command ship. "Activate all weapons." Captain Alex Carter's eyes lit up. Finally, he could stop hiding. "You heard the Admiral. All systems online. Launch fighters. Defend Earth." Though 5 human warships transformed instantly. Weapons that had been hidden for years suddenly blazed to life. Shields that were far more advanced than anything the aliens had seen flickered into existence. The ships that had looked ancient moments ago now moved with the grace and power of eagles. Ambassador Thex watched in amazement as the human vessels fought with incredible skill and determination. Their temporal technology allowed them to phase in and out of normal space, making them nearly impossible to hit. "General Vex," he said, "the humans were right to be cautious, and now they fight alongside us against a common enemy." General Vex lowered his weapon, watching the battle unfold. "Their technology is incredible. With skills like this, they're not weak at all." Lieutenant Commander Sue Davis coordinated the defense from Ship 1. Her science team had finally stabilized their systems, allowing the ship to use its temporal capabilities to full effect. "Sir," she reported to Captain Carter, "we're phasing through Helix fire and hitting them from angles they can't predict. Our temporal shielding is more advanced than anything they have. Indeed, the human ships moved like ghosts, appearing and disappearing, always attacking from unexpected directions. The Helix forces, despite their numbers, couldn't land effective hits. Lieutenant Amy Foster, monitoring communications from the Pioneer, heard something remarkable. "Commander Harrison, the Zarvak are asking permission to form up with our ships. They want to fight the Helix together." Jake looked at Ambassador Thex, who nodded firmly. Humanity has shown honor in admitting their deception and courage in facing a real threat. The Zarvak Collective will stand with Earth. The battle turned quickly. Human temporal technology combined with Zarvak weapon systems proved devastating. The Helix ships, realizing they faced a force they hadn't anticipated, began to retreat. "This isn't over, humans," the Helix commander broadcast as his fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed. "Your temporal technology will be ours." As the last Helix ship disappeared, a strange calm fell over the battlefield. Human and Zarvak ships floated together in space, former enemies now allies. Admiral Roy Black opened a communication channel to Ambassador Thex. "Ambassador, it seems we owe you an apology and our thanks." "No apology needed, Admiral," Thex replied. "Your deception was reasonable given the circumstances, and your courage in battle speaks louder than words ever could." Dr. Kate Miller, still on Ship 3 with the alien inspection team, helped Crix to his feet after his equipment malfunction. The scientist looked at her with what might have been respect. "Your species," he said, "is full of surprises. Temporal, shielding that advanced, it's remarkable work." Pete Garcia and his team on Titan Station watched the celebration through their viewports. The temporal fields were now stable, but no longer needed for deception. "Sarah," Pete said with a grin, "I think our secret's out." The signing of the Alliance Treaty happened 3 days later on Earth. Admiral Roy Black and Ambassador Thex stood together before representatives from dozens of human nations. "This alliance," Roy Black announced, "marks humanity's true entry into the galactic community. No more secrets, no more hiding. We stand ready to defend ourselves and our allies with everything we have." Ambassador Thex added, "The Zarvak Collective has learned that strength comes in many forms. Humanity's tactical deception showed wisdom, and their courage in battle showed honor. We are proud to call them allies." As the ceremony ended, Lieutenant Nina Bell stood with her psychological operations team, watching the celebration. "We spent years planning for first contact," she said, "but nobody could have predicted this outcome." Her colleague nodded. "From hiding our strength to using it to save our new allies, I'd say it worked out better than anyone could have hoped." High above Earth's surface, the 5 temporal warships now flew openly alongside Zarvak vessels. No more disguises, no more hiding. Humanity had revealed its greatest secret and found not enemies but unexpected friends. In the depths of space, more secrets waited to be discovered. But now humanity would face them not alone, but with allies who had seen their true strength and respected it. The age of hiding was over. The age of heroes had begun.